was from Mansfield. He was a bat boy for the New York Mets and a ball boy for the New York Yankees. You'll know him. He was a little guy who used to walk around here all the time. He always was helpful, and I went to the same parties as he did in New York with the Mets, but I didn't realize who he was. He didn't know who I was. I always remember him. You see the signs that say, do you need someone here for school crossing guards? Well, he was in charge of that. And every time I see that sign, I think of him. He was a good guy, and I thought I was mentioning his name because a lot of people knew him. Also, the real sad part is what's happened in Israel. There's a lot of Americans, a lot of people here in Century Village, believe it or not, have relatives there. So it's really not good what's happening there. I'm sorry I had to make that report today. But I wouldn't want to be on the other side of the Gaza Strip when the Israeli soldiers come there. Okay, minutes.
Good morning, thank you for coming. The minutes of the September Delegates meeting appear in the Cobrua Reporter October edition. Has anyone found any additions, corrections, or omissions from those minutes?
Yes. Yes. You have an incorrect date for when
Wait. He'll come to you. Go ahead.
Karen from Fanshawe. First of all, it says that the front of the clubhouse was to close beginning Monday, December 18th. It was supposed to be September 18th. We put in December 18th, hasn't even come yet. Okay, and the second thing. It's under the President's report.
Okay.
Okay, the second thing is, you reported that Chief Jody was here for security. She wasn't here. She was still on leave. Dana Lease did security, not Jody. That's it.
Thank you for those two important corrections. They'll be taken care of in the Cobrua office. There was another one over here I noticed.
To repeat.
Same thing.
Same thing?
Yes.
Okay. We'll make those corrections. Same thing.
So now, is there any objection to accepting the minutes as corrected and as published in the Cobrua Reporter? And if there are no objections, thank you, the minutes are accepted.
Okay, before we go to the Treasurer's report, we have a new president from Lincoln, Luke Zimmerman. Luke, you want to stand so everybody knows who you are? The new president of Lincoln, Luke Zimmerman. Then you want to get the Treasurer's report.
Good morning. The amount in our checking account is $11,860. Our CD is $37,588 for a total of $49,448. Last month's balance was $49,054. Any questions? Thank you.
Okay, security here, security report.
Good morning. My name is Jody, representing United Security. This is the monthly review for September. The miles patrolled was 3,841. Pre-authorized calls, 4,536. For commercial vehicle contractors, 1,220. and for food delivery was 136. Any questions?
Just a minute, Sergeant Alarms will come so we can all hear you.
Good morning. Not a question exactly, but on Sunday night at 7 o'clock, there was a truck that came, a pickup truck that came to my building with mattresses. I'd like to know who let them in and why they were there.
I would have to look into that
You
and
have to
get
tell
back
her,
to you.
you have to tell her who you are before she comes. No, you
Don't
didn't.
come to my apartment.
No, but you didn't say who you are.
I'm Karen from Rexford, thank you.
I'll look into that and get back to you.
Yes. Here, take this mic.
I don't know if you have any specific numbers, but we had spoken in the past about the long lines of people trying to come in. Are we making any progress, or?
We are.
Yeah.
Yes, we have the rovers stationed at the gate, so they're helping with traffic flow.
Very good, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Fred Hadley, Cornwall E.
Yes.
My question on security goes to the entry protocol for non-residents. One of my readers, who's a non-resident visiting her mom, said that when she comes in and uses the visitor lane, she presents her driver's license at their request, and then they take it in a booth and they scan it. Now, originally she said about a magnetic stripe, but Florida doesn't use that anymore. They use like an optical, like a dot pattern on your license. And the concern was what information is contained in that dot pattern, and would this constitute some invasion of privacy? So the question I have for Jody, and welcome back, is are the guards at the gatehouse in fact scanning driver's licenses of non-resident visitors? And what's the reason for that? Is there any information in that scan that is not contained on the front of the license? Thank you.
Yes, we are scanning driver's license for safety procedure. It stays in the system for 30 days. Guards aren't able to access it. It's only administration and myself. So if anything is to happen at the gate, we are able to go back and see who it was so we can take proper precautions.
Well, I'm all for that, but the second part of my question is there any information in that scan that cannot be gleaned from the front of the license plate, meaning name, address, date of birth, height, weight, et cetera? Is there anything
No.
like regular convictions, social security information, et cetera?
Whatever is
that
on the
if
front of the
it fell into
license
the wrong
is what's
hands?
scanned.
Pardon?
Whatever is on the front of the license is what is scanned. Their names, their address, and their picture is scanned and saved in the system.
Right, have you ever inspected the scanned records, though, and see what data is contained in there? Have you personally?
I have not personally, no.
I'm asking you to please do that at your earliest convenience, and let us know if there's any other information other than what's on the front of the driver's license.
That's the only thing, based on what I've seen, when we have any issues at the gate and I have to go back and check, that's the only thing that's saved, is what's on the front of the driver's license.
Okay, thank you, Jody.
You're welcome.
Sir,
I have a question.
I don't know.
See, Harvey, the woman was standing where she's there asking. Then you can have it. Yes, ma'am.
I
Sure,
have
of course.
a question about nighttime. Somebody is racing motorcycle or vehicle, whatever they have, roaring and racing at nighttime. It's very noisy. Is it allowed in our village to race at nighttime motorcycles?
I'm not sure, are you sure it's inside of the village or it's outside?
Yeah, it was on the central road.
Well, if you hear, If you hear it, just call security, call the rover, call the gate, and the gate will contact the rover, tell them the location, and we'll do a patrol.
Okay, thank you. And another thing, we have only 2 cars. I think it's not enough for whole village to have only 2 security cars. We have to do something about, to increase security. It's not a good time now to have only 2 cars for the whole village. So I think people have to think that our security is priority number 1 now. Thank you.
Okay, we have 2 others.
Arthur Harris Height. Is there anything that can be done to stop piggyback entry on the resident side of the entrances?
The gate, the arm has a timer on it, so if it's a case where someone piggyback behind you, for instance, give us a call. We do have cameras there. I personally pull the cameras, get their driver's license, or if we can get the decal, and I do submit a report to administration and they take steps.
Marvin Katz, Fanshawe. We have that ambulance service, AMR, and how come we never get a record of how many times they come into the village?
We do submit a record to the presidents of the associations every month.
Only to the presidents?
Yes.
I want to know how many times AMR comes into your association, is that it?
I want to know how many times they come into the village also.
Maggie. He has a question.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
How many times does he wants to know how many times AMR comes into his association? You send it out every month, don't you?
He didn't want every association he wants.
No, it's over here, Mag, this gentleman here.
Who's talking? Hi. AMR sends me a quarterly report for every association, not for the building, because that's against HIPAA laws.
Okay.
They send it for emergency,
All right, so I have to
non-emergency.
find out from my association.
You find out, I emailed it to, I think the last one was for September 2023, July, August,
Okay.
September. You ask your association president.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got it at the office. You can always call me, I'll give you the number.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Not by building.
Milton Fishberger from Cornwall. I am in charge of security for Congregation Torah Or, myself and another person. And I would like to know if people are coming into the village claiming to come either to the temple or to the synagogue, and they're not residents, are they allowed in?
Outsiders do come into the temple or the synagogue, yes. They
Okay,
do.
why?
They come for worship.
I understand that, but they don't live here. There are other places they can go. Why are they allowed in to this place, given the fact what's going on in this world right now? There should be no one coming in to the buildings, to the village, by the way, by just claiming that they're coming in to worship. That could be anybody under the sun. Why is that happening? They're being allowed through security. I'm involved with security from the synagogue. Why are outsiders are coming in?
I know our temple has a sticker on each car for the outsiders that are allowed to come into the temple to worship. We also, if we have anything going on, we inform Judy, who's the vice president and the site administrator. And I think Torah has a lot of people coming from the outside too. I don't know, I don't count your people, I'm only worried about the
Okay,
temple.
so my question is, I don't know where that sticker is. It doesn't allow you to go through the resident gate, does it?
The sticker shows the guard that he's going to the temple, plus they produce their license.
He's going through the non-resident side, correct?
Yeah,
Okay, so.
he's not using the resident side because he's not a
Okay,
resident.
Right, so Jody, are they being checked? Those
Yes,
people with
we do
those
have a
stickers?
record. We do have a record. We keep a record for the temple, yes,
Okay,
for both.
so,
And I make sure every function we have, I notify the management people.
okay. I will put my question on abeyance for now and find out what we want to do with the synagogue. Right now, it's upsetting, given what we're going through in this world, that outsiders are coming into the building by claiming they are going to pray. But I will hold off on any further comments until I speak to the president of the synagogue.
Well, you have to tighten up your end of it, because we're pretty
I
tight.
just said that I'm holding my thing, so don't look and point fingers at me, please, Stanley.
I didn't point my finger, I just opened my mouth.
Yeah, okay, I know what you're saying, and you know where I'm coming from, too.
Milt, this was brought up many times with, at M&O by me, wanting to know why they were allowed to come in. And the answer that we got at the M&O committee was that it was a long-standing thing with St. West. We'll bring it up again. I stand at the...
That's something really, Mike, that
I know.
needs to be looked at again because of what we see going on. There are a lot of demonstrations right now that are going on in Florida. I just spoke to the captain, who is in our local captain from the sheriff's office. There have been some demonstrations down in Broward that's gotten ugly, and we need to make sure that nothing affects us here in the village to the best of our ability.
I agree. We brought this up years ago. We really did. I brought it up years ago. I wanted to know why outsiders were allowed to come in to go to services, and I was told that's a long-standing tradition. So we'll look into it again, because I agree with you. As a former police officer, they can come in here anytime they want. And who knows who they are. Okay. Any other questions for security? Yes, miss, you have to come up and, miss, you have to come take this gentleman.
Hi, I'm Lorraine from Fanshawe O. I just want to know if you do not have a sticker on your car, if you're a resident, but don't have a sticker on your car, you have your ID, are you allowed to go into the residence section and just hold up your card and let them open the gate?
No, you have to get a sticker.
Okay, because that's confusing for me, because I have a rental car, don't have a sticker, and occasionally they tell when the line is long, they're ushering me to the other side. So sometimes I'm allowed and sometimes I'm not allowed. So
It depends on the traffic. To avoid an accident on Lions, that's why we have the rover out there, or we have our guards now, we're in vest. So we do direct the Central Village residents with the car to go over to that lane to ease traffic flow.
Okay, but I just can't do it on my own unless they direct me.
Correct.
Okay, got it, thank you.
We have someone here.
Okay, Fanshawe E. I have a question about the security this guy told about this car. Basically, it's not supposed to be put sticker in the car, it's no residence. I have a question to security.
Repeat your question?
How you allow to put sticker in the car if this people no residents of this community?
You can't get a sticker unless you're a resident.
Yeah.
Just talking about the
synagogue, they're not
temple.
residents.
Stanley?
It's a different one.
Oh. I'm not, outsiders for the temple, they do have that on their car. It's not given to them by Central Village. I'm not sure who gives that to them. I can't answer that question, to be honest with you.
Yeah, please find.
I'm sure it might be St. West, but it's not the ID office itself. That gives them the temple sticker to come inside the village? Yeah, no, it's not given by the ID office, but they come with that sticker on their vehicle, but they also have to present their driver's license, because we do keep a record of everyone that comes inside the temple, whether they're driving or by foot.
Okay, thank you.
Have to wait
Okay, he's on his way back.
To the question that I had before about going in the residence side, if I'm here only temporarily, only for a few months at a time, and I have a rental car, can I get a temporary sticker for my car?
Speak with the ID office.
Okay. All right.
Okay, Dave, we have a gentleman up here has his hand up, front row.
Elliot Friedman, Lincoln A. I have a question. I know it is a temporary route for the buses in the back, but a couple of people fell coming over that, what do they call that? Like a threshold, as you come in. I'm one of them that fell, but a couple of more fell. Now, there's nothing to hold on to as you come in that back door where the waiting room is. Can't they put something temporarily, because the guard now knows me, and she, every time she sees me, she says to everyone, careful walking in, careful walking in, be very careful walking in. So I christened it 3 weeks ago, and I walked in and I fell over that threshold.
I will send a report to Miss Judy about that, and they'll decide what they can do, maintenance and Miss Judy.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay.
Yeah, Mike?
Thank you very much, we appreciate it.
Mike?
Thank you.
Yo, I have a question.
Okay, let's go. Stan, you want to go with the M&O committee and then community affairs?
Michael, can I just
Yes.
follow up with security? I have a quick question.
No.
Jody? Jody?
Wait a minute. Is it a new question?
Yeah, it's a new question. Yes.
Okay, what's
Jody,
the question?
Jody, I think there's a little confusion. The sticker from the temple is not a barcode to open the gate, correct? It's just.
It's not a barcode.
Right, it's a separate sticker that doesn't open the gate. I think people need to know that it's not a gate entry sticker.
That's why they come to the guest section.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay. Stan?
Good morning, everyone. I want to start with community affairs. Last month at the West Boca Council meeting, we had a representative from GL Homes present to talk about the construction alongside the high school. The number of homes was reduced from 700 plus down to 633. There's going to be 2 entranceways in and out of the new complex, one on Lyons Road and one on 441. The one on 441 will be for residents only. According to the GL person, they're following all the rules set up by the DOT. But in reality, if you drive in that area, you'll see there's a lot of confusion, especially with the trucks making turns and so forth. So eventually the DOTs are gonna have to, come up with a new plan. There's gonna be left turns in and left turns out. And on the Lyons Road portion, the entrance is very close to the traffic light that's next to the school. So there has to be so many footage distance, and that's gonna be a problem. So right now, we have to see what the DOT is gonna come up with and alleviate any problems which are gonna occur at that site. Any questions?
So are you saying that on Lyons Road, people coming out of GL Homes, there won't be a traffic light at the entrance?
Right now, the rules are you can't put up a traffic light until all the homes are sold. But there's a distance that has to be between one traffic light and the other. And just observing it right now, it doesn't look like that entrance on Lyons will qualify for a traffic light. So there's going to be a lot of left turns in and left turns out, and we'll see what the DOT comes up with. Unless they make a waiver and say you can have a traffic light, but that I don't know yet. Any other questions regarding community affairs? M&O report. Excuse me.
Susan Ortsman Pressman, where GL homes are, across the street, that empty lot, will they be building there as well?
That belongs to GL Homes, but according to them, there's nothing being proposed for the next couple of years. Eventually, they'll probably do something. Okay, M&O. For the month.
Rexford, please, one meeting.
Okay? All right. The month of September's meetings were devoted strictly to the new budget for the year starting November 1st, 23, ending October 31st in 24. Management, we met twice, once September 13th and then September 27th. The first meeting lasted from a little after 9 till about 3 in the afternoon. The second meeting, we just had a morning session to close up everything. The bottom line, and I'm not going to get into a whole big deal, is we originally started out with a $37 increase for the SunWest budget. After going over a number of items, and we deferred quite a bit of the projects that we had in mind, the increase will be $2.62. Knowing what the associations are going through, we decided to do a lot of the deferring. Excuse me? Yeah, I'll get to it in a little while. So the new coupon will be $217.07. Everyone pays that amount. Now, the only difference on your coupon will be the portion that goes to Levy's end of it. I call it the VIG, even though technically it's the rental portion. That runs in the $60 range. So add on to the $217.07, which everyone pays, there's no difference by community. There'll be the addition of the Levy portion. Yeah, right. Right, if we didn't talk about Levy's portion, there'll be a $2.62 increase. Okay, some of the items we deferred. We're only gonna do one pool renovation. That's a saving of over $300,000. We put a hold on any changes to the tennis and pickleball requests. We had some engineering reports we wanted to do for future projects. We put that on hold. There was a number of maintenance items that we put aside till next year. There were some modifications that we were talking about for the Lions Road side, the wall, where the we were talking about possibly a wall or a fence instead of what we have the bushes now. We put that on hold. Putting all of those items on hold, we were able to come down to the $2.62, which we felt would be reasonable and would be reasonable. Any questions?
Can you tell me what's the cost for the renovation that's going on in front of the building?
As soon as you tell them who you are.
Milton Fishburger, Cornwall.
That was on last year's budget. I don't have it right in front of me. I'll find out and get back to you. But that's already in the budget. It has nothing to do with the new budget.
Wait a minute, let's wait till you get recognized.
What's that?
Wait, don't answer, she's gotta get recognized and tell us who she is.
Susan Ortzman Preston, will you be publishing that in the Cobrua, how much it's costing for the front?
There'll be, well,
Well, because you said you would let him know, so I would like to know as well.
we're not publishing that, that's last year's budget. I will find out what the answer is and report it at the next meeting.
Okay.
What'll be published will be the budget adjustments for this year, which we do every year. Any other questions?
Okay, Helen, you want to report on the bylaws?
One of the articles of incorporation includes how to amend them, and 5% of the owners in the entire village can all sign a petition for an amendment, or the majority of the executive board that you see sitting up here, or the president. Those are the three ways. So this year, the president did suggest an amendment. So the bylaws committee is going to schedule a meeting, and the committee will discuss the proposal that we strike from the, I guess you'd call it the articles, a clause that says, although every officer can run again when the next March election comes around, the president cannot. The president must wait 2 extra years before running again. And the proposal was, take that out so that the president can still be here when we convert in 2028. So we're going to take that up and then present it to the executive board. If the executive board votes to proceed, then we'll bring it to the delegates meeting. We'll read it, explain it, and then wait a month, and the next meeting, read it again, explain it again, and then vote on it. So that's coming up. It's not now, but it's coming up. So the bylaws committee is working on that at this time.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Susan Ortzman, president. I'd like to know the second month, when you bring it up 1 month, okay, then the second month, do the delegates, can we vote on it as well? Or is it just?
The only ones that can vote on it.
Only the delegates vote on it.
Very good, thank you.
It's their job.
Okay, we have a Cobrua M&O election coming up, and if you want to participate, I believe it's before December, it's posted in the Cobrua Reporter, put your name in, and if you don't put your name in, you can be nominated from the floor. We have anybody here from Hotwire Committee that would like to say anything? No, Hotwire. You're gonna go next. Okay. All right, now we have the Cobra Group election, and after that, we're gonna have the Cobra Group report.
Actually, good morning. Actually, I have nothing new to report, but I do have the declarations of intent to run. If anyone here would like to pick them up, I have a supply of them. And all the delegates are eligible, as are the members of the executive board. This declaration must be submitted by November 10th. If you miss that date, then there will be, what? If you miss that date, then there will be nominations from the floor at the January meeting. So if any of you are interested, come up and take a declaration. Thank you.
Yes, just a minute. We have a question.
Dennis Delafave from Hythe. I have a question. What is the Cobra Group purpose? I don't know why you're laughing, I'm just very curious, because I was a president of a corporation before, and we had Cobra, we didn't have Cobrua. So when I came here, I didn't know what your purpose was, because Cobra usually satisfied it in other communities. So now, you got Cobrua, I want to know what Cobra's for.
Cobra is a subsidiary, a wholly owned subsidiary of Cobrua. And the best explanation I can give you is a 4-page report that all of you will receive when you get your budget mailings in the next week or two. We prepared 4 pages of a total explanation. We did it last year, we're doing it again, and hopefully there'll be no questions after you've read.
Could you just give me a simple synopsis before you send that out? Very simple, nothing big.
It's a corporation that was formed for one purpose only, and that's to deal with an election and the procedure for a buyout if indeed the residents decide to exercise the option to purchase in 2028.
Is that an extra cost on the coupon?
No. Actually, your coupon eventually will go down. What Stanley was talking about before, when he was talking about your $2.62 increase, he said it was the same for everybody except for the portion that is the return on investment for the Levy organization. And if indeed you all decide to exercise the option, the percentage, the money that is going to the Levy organization will eventually be eliminated for everyone. It will not be the same for everyone because you're all subject to a 50-year lease. I'm getting into a lengthy explanation, and you'll read this in the 4 pages, but I'll give you a little bit more now. You're all subject to a 50-year lease, but because construction was started on the southern side of the village, those associations, Ainsley, Brighton, etc., will reach their 50 years of payment of this rental before the associations on the northern side, and that's called the runout. So if we do exercise the option, the cost will go down for everyone eventually, but the portion that we're paying to the Levy organization as this return on investment, as I call it, will come first to the people, to the associations on the south side.
The price has already been predetermined, wasn't it?
The price is predetermined. It cannot change no matter whether we have inflation, deflation, maintenance, whatever. It cannot change. Anything else? I hope that helped.
Yes. Yeah, it's Milton Fishberger from Cornwall. I'm on the Cobra committee as well as Sid and Lynn who's up there. Just to explain about the election a little bit more, there's going to be 4 openings. It's a 2-year term. So there are, Lynn and Sid are 2 of the people who are up for re-election.
It's Lynn and me and Stanley and Susan Meltzer are the 4 seats that will be open.
And I would love for Sid to remain as the president.
Thank you. Anything else?
Mitchell Schaefer, Brighton. The gentleman did ask a question which unfortunately you didn't answer. He asked if there was any additional charges to the coupon. There is $1.75 per door. Everyone is
That's current. I thought you meant for the future.
No, I think I should answer that.
Okay, currently everyone is paying $1.75, which is going to the expenses for legal fees, accountants, and for eventually you will need title searches, surveys, marketing people to make sure the word goes out to everybody who's not living in the village, and that's what that $1.75 is going towards. That answer your question? Thank
The
you.
question was merely for clarity's sake.
Well,
I didn't ask a question, I made it for clarity's sake.
Oh, okay. Anything else?
We have a woman here, Dave.
Over here, Dave.
Susan from Suffolk, Susan Anderson. I'm a little confused with the buyout, and when the buyout comes about, isn't it like null and void any contracts? Or how is this levy thing working, where some people are paying, we're paying a 50-year lease, you're saying? So if we're buying out, does that not become null and void? I'm confused.
What becomes null and void is the Levy organization's ability to run, he won't own it anymore. We will be electing the directors, we will buy them out, is basically what happens. The directors of the corporation that will take over, and it will not be the Cobra Group. The Cobra Group will dissolve or it'll be discontinued in 2028, and there will be directors who will be, that's what we're working out now with the documents that we have to work with from the Levy organization. But what we're hoping for is that the directors will be something like one from each association. There'll be 16 directors of the corporation that will be running the clubhouse and rec facilities, and also the services, the security and roads and buses and everything. Again, the thought is, what we're working on is to possibly combine the two. Right now they're separated, they're two separate corporations. And it's actually a legal question, I guess there are tax issues and everything else, but it would seem likely that it would be best to combine the recreation facilities with the service facilities.
My question was more on the field of everybody paying the same exact amount.
Everyone will be paying the same amount.
That's kind of not what you said, though.
They will be paying the same amount to the corporation that is running the village, but they will still be paying these runouts to Levy until their 50 years are up.
But that was
For some of the associations, from the time we exercise or take over, say January 1st of 2029, some of the associations will finish their run out in 2, 3, 4 months.
Who's the contract with the run out? It's run out for
That's
50
with
years.
Lee, that's, you signed that,
No, I'm just asking who that is. I thought we were buying them out.
you are buying them out.
Okay, so.
But
the
that's
contract
part of the buyout, you
should- So a
must
new
continue.
contract should come about, no?
No, no.
No? I'm asking, I don't know.
No.
I'm curious.
You will, if indeed you choose to exercise the option, you will own the clubhouse and facilities as of January 1. Levy will be out of all management and any control. It will be up to all of us as associations and as individuals. But the run out, the rent that is still due to Levy is an individual obligation that each one of us signed when we bought our units. And that is not discontinued, it will not disappear. So the runouts will run, as I say, the lease will be 2 or 3 months, and it's up to almost 5 years. I gave you a chart, I think all of you got a chart of how long your runouts will be. But that's the basic plan. Hopefully all of these I call them corporate decisions that have to be made. They're being worked on, and hopefully we'll have something to present to you after the first of the year.
Yeah, I have a question. I understand that the executive committee and your committee voted to allow you to use our office and use it as their address. Now, I have nothing against that, but I don't think you can do that, because I have a copy of the lease. The lease is made out to Cobrua, and for order for us to have someone share our office, I believe that, number one, the delegates should vote on that, because it's a Cobrua lease. And number two, no one approached the landlord to ask him if it was okay. So I don't want the landlord coming to me as the president of Cobrua saying, what the hell did you do? You put somebody in there without even asking me? I think we should ask him.
That's fine, I have no problem with that. We're actually a subsidiary of Cobrua. And it was.
Sometimes you're subsidiary of Cobrua, sometimes you're not. It all depends. When you make your report, you say it's a separate corporation, then announce it. So let's get it from him, and if he says no, it's no. If he says it's yes, it's yes. But I can't just have the executive committee, who doesn't have the power to do that, and I can't have your committee doesn't have the power to change, to let you use our address. I have no problem with it, ladies and gentlemen. I want to do it what's right. So if you want to request it to Cobrua, I will forward your request to the landlord and see if he approves it. And I'll tell him I have no problem with it.
That's absolutely fine. I'm the one who always says, let's do it the legal way. I think you're taking an unnecessary step, but by all means, go ahead and do what you feel you have to do.
You may think it's unnecessary, but I don't want him to come in there and say, what the hell are you doing? Somebody else, Cobra is not Cobrua. You signed a lease with Cobrua, not Cobra. How come Cobra is getting their mail there when you did not approach me? So all I want to do is go to the landlord, make the request, and see what he does.
Actually, when the executive board and the delegates approved the articles of incorporation and bylaws, and you did all vote on them close to 2 years ago, the address of the principal place of business of the Cobra Group was the Fontana Plaza address. All our tax returns, annual reports, federal tax ID, everything has been using the Fontana Plaza address since it was the one in our articles of incorporation. So again, I don't want to do anything that is not legal and up. So Mike, please go ahead and do what you feel is necessary to straighten this out.
Yeah, I'll contact him, and we'll see what he says. Yes. That, my opinion, I think that if mail comes to Cobra instead of Cobrua, one of their committee members should pick it up.
Yeah, well, actually, Lynn is up there weekly. She's our treasurer, and she's up there to do the Cobra Group books. So she does take a look at our mail and let us know. We really get very little. It's just all official, like tax returns, bills, and we have our own internet line. So again, let's proceed as Mike would like.
Yeah, well, yes, I agree. Well, Lynn, and, Steve, you and I discussed this, that we have no problem with you using the office. You know that.
Well, you're the one who invited us in the first place, Mike.
Yes, I
You were
did.
generous enough to.
I invited you in if it's legal, if it's legal. I invited you in if it's legal. We will give you a section of, as long as it does not interfere with the Cobrua employee doing their job, you can do whatever you want.
No, Mike was very generous. He not only invited us in, but he gave us a desk. He loaned us a computer and a printer. We now have our own. And but again, let's just make sure that everything.
Let's make sure what
correct.
we're trying to do is correct.
Okay.
It says in the I read the lease to make sure, because I don't want any problems there. It says that the owner, the management company usually agrees with it. So I just want everybody to keep up, it's there. Okay, let's go into old business. Anything under old business? Anything under new business? You have to wait till after the meeting, sir, then you can say it. Okay, good and welfare from the delegates. I have something that's good to go and welfare from the delegates. We have two people here who run our bingo, and no one ever recognizes them. But they happen to both be here today, and I'd like them to, Elliot, you want to stand? Pauline, are you here, still here? Is Pauline still here? This is Elliot. And Pauline. And how many people do you usually get, Elliot? 100 and something?
At least 175.
And that's off-season?
Yes.
So,
We're very busy in summer and winter.
yes, thank you very much. I just wanted to recognize you and Pauline because they're volunteers, they don't get paid for it, and they come every Wednesday. Is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you very much, Elliot. I appreciate it. Pauline's my neighbor, so I always thank her, but I wanted to officially thank her. Yeah.
Where does the money go from profit?
Back to bingo. Back to bingo, the prizes.
No, there is no profit. It's a profit. There is no profit. There is no profit.
There's no.
There is no profit.
Profit. We just, you have your own expenses.
Everything that comes in is given out except for what it costs for all the material that you use.
So the money comes back. In other words, if you have a lot of money, Pauline tells me we have better prizes, like $100 and stuff. So I may come, but she tells me, and she tells Lynn, who happens to be the chairman of the committee, that it's working well. And I just thought I'd thank you. Okay, good welfare under the residents. I'm sorry, we have someone here, yes.
Hi, good morning. Carolyn Haynes from Exeter C. I'd like to point out on the chairs that there are some flyers. We're thrilled to be sponsoring a veterans event on Thursday, November the 9th. It's for all veterans. If you are not a veteran, you are still invited to come, and it's going to be a wonderful affair. We've got a really great program planned for you, and there's another flyer also. We'll be looking for volunteers to help set up for decorations and everything on November the 8th. So please join us. Thank you.
Is your name on there so they can contact you?
Yes, for volunteers.
Volunteers?
The calls will go into Sherry, and then she'll forward them on to me.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Carolyn, we didn't get any flyers up here.
I'll get you some.
Okay. Yes.
As a resident?
No, good and welfare.
As a
Resident.
You have to go over
Is there gonna be a line? I don't see
Yeah.
it.
Okay, where's the mic, Dave, for good? Okay, good welfare residents, the procedure is, you can bring up whatever you want, Dave will assist you, Sergeant at Arms. Stop. That's okay. Okay,
Elaine
tell us-
Harris.
And you have 2
Hi.
minutes. Go ahead.
I have 3 questions of clarification from during the meeting. The first one was, Stanley, you spoke about things that were deferred for the Sen West budget. The one thing you said that I didn't understand, I'd like more information. What kind of maintenance was okay to defer?
Go back to my notes.
The question is that they're deferring things to make the budget from Sen West not be so large. One of them was maintenance. Maintenance is usually something that you're fixing with a hammer or something. So we want to know what is the maintenance.
One of the items was engineering reports for future projects that came under maintenance.
You said that separately.
That came in under maintenance. The question came up and I answered that. The second item was replace theater doors and hardware. That came under maintenance, we deferred that. And we wanted to change the shades in the clubhouse, which we deferred. That came under the maintenance section. So it was not repair of the building or anything that crucial. It was just general items that we felt were not that necessary to do immediately, and we can hold off on it. The important thing is, we wanted to keep the coupon down, and I thank the committee, which is made up of Lynn Roberts, Sid Schwartz, Ted Spar, Dave Fisher, and myself, and Al, who's not here, from Dorset. Those people worked hard, and we made sure that
Excuse
we
me.
accommodated all of them.
Excuse me, you left my name out.
Yeah, oh yeah, you left my name out for Comcast, so I retaliated. Yeah, Mike also.
Okay, question 2 was, at the beginning of the meeting, you announced, I think David announced, there were 39 delegates present. Is our quorum 41, and did that mean we weren't allowed to have any votes or anything? Am I mixing something? So you did have a quorum? No, quorum isn't 77, 77 is the number.
38.
Quorum is 38, thank you.
39 is quorum.
Okay, so you had the quorum. And the last question was, the amendment that you were speaking about with the bylaws, I had thought that this was going to be the first reading this month, and next month was the second reading and election, not election, the vote.
Yes.
So could you tell me, was that a change? Did I miss something?
You missed that the committee didn't meet to discuss it before bringing it to the executive board. So we'll set up a committee meeting, the bylaws committee, and then once we have, the minutes from that will be brought to the next executive board meeting. That'll be brought to the next delegates meeting, which will be the first, and the one after that will be the second. So you're right, there was a change from the impression that you got.
So tentatively, it would be the November delegates meeting and the December one? No.
First has to make the meeting for the bylaws committee.
So if the bylaws committee met before the November meeting, it might be November and December. Got it. The last thing was, I just wanted to mention to all the delegates that if anybody's new, I want you to understand that the delegates hold all the power in this meeting. You vote. When there are things to vote on, you are the people who make the decisions. The board is here and they are elected and are doing their job, but you have a job to do too.
Do you really think that they don't, excuse me, I don't want to be insulting, but do you really think that these delegates don't know what they're doing?
I think there are new people who don't know.
I don't, where do I vote? When do I vote? What meetings do I go to? I don't know that.
Well, then you better speak, then you better talk to your president.
Hi, Fred Hadley again, Cornwall. There are a number of inaccurate statements made during the meeting which I couldn't correct because I'm not a delegate until this time. One of the things in the Cobrua Reporter is that all 7 offices are up for re-election. We actually have 8 offices, Alan, not 7. The second mistake that Alan made, and I'm glad it wasn't an official reading because it was a total misstatement, is that this is the executive committee on this dais. This is only a part of the executive committee. You have to add 16 presidents and past presidents of Cobrua. So there could be as many as 24 people on the executive committee, and you need a majority of that body, not just the 8 sitting on the dais. The third mistake, and this is very important, is you keep saying in the reporter, and you said again today, Mr. Secretary, that the bylaw is to allow a person or a president to be re-elected. Well, Michael was re-elected last March. You're not stating it properly. The bylaw states you may not serve more than 2 consecutive terms. So when you do your official reading, please use the official language, not your paraphrasing of it, because to say that he can't be re-elected is totally false. Michael, you were re-elected last March, weren't you? Yes, you were. You're sitting up
Yes,
there. So
I think so, that's why I'm up here.
The most important thing I want to say is this business about the run out. Now, I brought this up before. Now you can put the sign down. I see it. I'm asking the chairman for the courtesy as you gave Helene Harris. I want to finish my statement without him waving a sign.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, I understand when we signed up, we signed a 50-year lease, and that constitutes 600 months, 12 times 50. And I'm in one of the earliest associations, Cornwall. So at the end of 50 years, I will have made 600 payments. On the north side, you have associations that were built 1, 2, or maybe even 3 years later. So obviously, at the end of the 50 years, they will not have made 600 payments because they got into the game later. I get that. But what the committee, and I've asked this before, and the only answer I get is, that's the way it is. What you're not taking into account is the fact that the north side people, the youngsters, are paying more per month for their recreational fee than the south side old timers like me. So that should bring them up to parity at the end of the 50 years if you do the math. So if you're going to ask for a run out beyond 50 years, then they're being exposed to double jeopardy. Larger monthly payments than the south side for a longer period of time. Thank you very kindly.
Wait. I'd like to just give you an answer on that. The people who came in later on the north side when those buildings were built, they not only signed for 50 years, but they signed at a higher per unit rate than you signed when you came in for Cornwall, because time had passed. I can only assume that costs went up, construction costs, whatever costs went up. And I don't know what was in Levy's head. The only thing I know is what is in the documents. And like I'm in Preston, I fall kind of in the middle. My run out is, I think it's 22 months if I'm not mistaken. And I look at my documents and this is what I signed, that I'm paying X number of dollars per month for so many years. And it's a legal document. And unless you want to go to court and fight it out, that's the way it is. It may not be fair, and I agree it's not fair, because Lynn is sitting right next to me, and she's going to pay for 3 months, and I'm going to pay for 22 months. I agree it's not fair, but again, it's what the contract says.
That's
So
fine.
that's the answer to your question.
That's fine.
Fred, and anyone, is there anyone here who's been here for 50 years?
No.
Right. So you're paying for the year or years, and hopefully many years, that you're here. But if you came into Ainsley, where I live, and you stayed 14 years, then you paid 14 years. If you moved into Yarmouth 2 years before the whole thing's over, then you pay for 2 years. Why not? And you pay up because you're paying your portion of the lease.
Yeah, but like he said, I'm paying $660 and somebody else is paying $360.
You're talking about your association costs. There's two things. You pay for your...
All together, yeah. I'm still paying more, and the lease is still 50 years. How come I'm paying so much more?
Because that's what you agreed to do. Again, there's no way I can make it right. All I can say is this is what you...
No one is paying 50 years.
And if indeed you don't agree with this, your answer is to vote no on the exercise of the option if you don't think it's fair.
Sid, when you start talking about 50 years, you're confusing people. People are paying only for the number of years that they're here.
Yeah, that's, of course, I take that for granted. I certainly didn't pay for the woman from Canada that I bought from. I don't understand where you're coming from.
People keep talking about 50 years. None of us are paying 50 years.
That's right.
The unit is paying for 50 years. No matter who owns the unit, The unit
Okay,
is paid
all right.
for 50 years.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
We know the
Mr. Chairman,
answer.
Michael, I agree, it's the unit that's
That's
obligated
right.
to the 50
I
years,
said we
not
know the
not
answer.
the
The
occupant.
answer is the unit
But the
payment.
point I want to make is, Sid, you raised an interesting point. If you don't like it, why don't we litigate it? There's enough money at stake here that maybe it ought to be litigated.
We'll take it under consideration. Thank you, Fred.
Okay, we have a gentleman. Yes, sir, just tell us who you are, where you live, please.
It's John, Garrison 80, Fanshawe Association.
Yes, sir.
I've been a resident here for not quite 5 years, at least the last 2 years. I've been asking for a study to be done to get an electrical charging station at the clubhouse. And for at least the last 2 years, I've heard the excuse, well, we're waiting for FP&L to come in and give us some figures on what it's going to cost to bring in the necessary infrastructure so that a charging station could be put in. And I'm tired of waiting. Other Century villages already have charging stations. I want it voted by the delegate that there will be a study done to get the cost to determine what it will take to get charging stations at the clubhouse.
They don't have to take a vote. The M&O committee is looking at it with FPL. We are talking to FPL about how much it's going to
For 2
cost.
years. I've heard this for 2 years. You're talking to them. What are you?
Well, why don't you talk to FPL, because they're the ones who are supposed to give us the report.
Well, you don't have to wait for that. You can get an independent party to come in and give you an assessment of the costs. That's bullshit. That's just
That's not, that's,
Oh, no.
well, number one, watch your language. Number two, I'm telling you, we're waiting for a report from
And I'm telling you,
FPL.
that's unacceptable.
Well, that's your
That's
opinion.
unacceptable.
Why? Do you have an electric car? Is that why?
I can't get one until we have a charging station here.
No, there's one across the street, I think. Or there's
No,
one by
they don't have one
Publix.
across the street.
Yeah, there's one by
Like I said,
Publix.
other Century Village and other locales already have charging stations.
Well, good for
They're not
them.
brighter, they're not smarter, they don't have more money. They just got off their duff and they did something. They got a
Really?
study done and determined the cost.
Well, I'm
That's
telling you.
responsibility.
Well, I'm telling you, the M&O committee is looking at it, and when we think it's right, we'll make when we think it's right,
I'm telling
we'll
you, I
make
want the
it.
delegates to vote on it. I want it on the menu for them to decide, not you.
Yeah. This is not, Stanley, you want to tell them it's not a delegates matter?
My suggestion is you go to the front desk and fill in a report that you would like management to look into it. That's the procedure.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you for a good meeting. Appreciate it. See you next month. Thank you. Yeah, that's right, we need a, yeah. When you join the meeting, we need your name because this guy here always says to me, I know Susan, who anybody, thank you.